Bork, bork, bork. What? What? Are you serious? Okay. I hope you know what you're doing. Okay. Ew, that was gross. Ah, nasty. Ah. Well, that's what you get when a moose is telling you how to cook. Hey kids, this is Isaac. Today we are going to learn how to make rocks. You know, those hard things that you chuck at your brother when they're making you mad? No, you shouldn't do that, kids. But why are rocks also different? Because you've got some that are red and soft. You got some that are hard with big pebbles in them. You've got some shiny, smooth ones. Rocks come in all sorts of shapes, colors, and sizes. But why? Why come? That's a real word. So rocks are different because of the things that they're made out of and the processes that they go through when they are formed. So let's start by telling you about the 3 types of rocks. Number 1, we have sedimentary. A sedimentary rock is limestone, sandstone, conglomerate. There are lots of different kinds. So sedimentary. The second type is igneous. Igneous rocks are the ones that you, obsidian or granite. Don't take it for granted. And pumice. You know that rock that floats? You didn't know there's rocks that float? Yep, this is one of them. And finally, our third type of rock, which is metamorphic. Things such as nice. Hey, that's a nice rock. Or marble. So those are the different types of rocks. Sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous. Let's get to what rocks are made out of. Rocks are made out of minerals. Minerals, you know those things you get in the bottled water? They call it minerals. Well, minerals refers to a whole bunch of things, but they are the ingredients that make up rocks. And there are lots of different minerals. But some of the more common minerals are quartz, like this. This is a quartz crystal. Quartz, feldspar, mica, muscovite, olivine. Those are all types of minerals. Now, using these different types of minerals, different types of minerals will give rocks different colors and different properties when they are formed. So let's start by making some rocks with some minerals and show you how it's done. Our first rock for today we will be learning how to make is limestone. Limestone is a sedimentary rock. Okay? Here is a piece of limestone. Now, the ingredients to limestone. Limestone's a real interesting rock. One of the most common things found in limestone are broken up shells. So shells, like from the beach, the ocean, right? Okay, this shell would then be broken up through weathering, which is the waves and the processes, chemical processes, or the physical processes like rain and wind and water. Those things break rocks up, or shells in this case. And these shells, they get broken up. So through weathering, weathering is the process of breaking them up into little sediments like this. This is broken up shell. This broken up shell would then, we're making a rock here, so we're going to put some broken up shell into here, right into our bowl. Then we're going to add some silica, and let's add a little bit, maybe some feldspar or something. Anyway, Then we're going to mix this all up. So we have a whole bunch of minerals. We're going to mix them up. And then we are going to, I've already mixed up a batch of minerals here for sandstone, okay, with all the ingredients. And then you have compaction, which is where you take all those minerals, those sediments, and you pack them in. You squish them really tight. You push them down, and then you let it sit there for hundreds and thousands and even millions of years. And after that time, you get limestone, which is what again? You're right, a rock that burns with acid. I know that's not what you were thinking, but an interesting note to know if you've got limestone, get some hydrochloric acid. I know you may not be able to see this, but if you put a drop of hydrochloric acid on limestone, it fizzes just like a soda drink. Okay, that's how you know. And you know why? Because that's what shells do. It's this. See that? See how it's bubbling? Because limestone is made of shells. There you go. Okay, so that is sedimentary rock. The second type of rock we are talking about today is igneous. Now, igneous rocks, right, like we have obsidian or granite, igneous rocks also use things, or they also use minerals, just like all rocks do. Today, we are going to be making some granite, which I just love using the don't take it for granted joke, okay? So, I'm going to dump out my sample over there. Okay, so we are making granite. Now granite, first off, we're going to need a whole bunch of feldspar, which is a type of mineral, okay? So granite has a whole bunch of feldspar. Oh, this is my grandma's secret recipe for making granite. It's called Granny's Granite. It's the best recipe ever. Okay, so that's what I'm using. Okay, so I've got feldspar. Now I need to add in some quartz. I got some crushed up quartz here. Excellent. I need some mica. Ooh, I've got some mica, some powdered mica that is broken up through weathering. Can you just read my sign there? Yep. And finally, I need my amphibole. Okay, so I'm going to sprinkle that throughout. Okay, now I'm going to mix it up. Mix, mix, mix. Now here's where igneous rocks are different from sedimentary. Remember with sedimentary, we broke them up into sediments. We mixed them and then we compacted them. Ho, 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 ho. Not an igneous, my friends. Igneous. I've got a fresh batch of igneous here on the stove that I've just melted. So you'll take all these sediments and you will melt them. So they are liquid, just like this. Can you see my liquid granite? Okay, so I've got my liquid granite, and then you're going to take granite. This is fun. So we're going to put some of my granite. Wow, this is like the consistency of snot. This is awesome. Okay. Right, so igneous, we heat it up and melt it, and then, well, what typically happens is it gets melted. It gets melted in the earth and stays under the earth. And eventually it cools. Remember, it was hot and melted. And over thousands and millions of years, it cools down. Cools, cools. And as it cools, it forms crystals. See? It forms these crystals, which then turn into granite. Ta-da! So that's how you make granite. You just melt it and let it cool slowly over time. Awesome. But there's another kind. I want to show you real quickly the difference between granite and obsidian. It's not necessarily what's in it, but it's how it cools. I'm making a mess with these rocks. Okay, so here I have a thing of water. Some minerals, they get melted. And once they're melted, they get dropped and exposed to water like this. Boom. Now what happens when you take something really hot and you stick it in water? Well, it cools very rapidly. So rapidly that the crystals aren't able to form. Like in granite, when you move it, you see all these little, you see these nice little shiny pieces, you know, like the crystals in granite. There's no time for those to form. So you just take it, the minerals, you melt them. Then you stick them in water for them to cool, and out comes obsidian. It's an igneous rock, but it was cooled very quickly in water. And that's why it's glassy and smooth. No crystals were formed. Cool. Awesome. All right. Now the third type of rock. I'm going to get my sediments back up here. The third type of rock is metamorphic. And I feel sorry for these metamorphic rocks. They really go through a lot. So a metamorphic rock is when you take, like we made this piece of granite, right? So this granite then gets buried in the earth, okay? Remember, metamorphic, we're not taking just minerals that have been, you know, as sediments anymore. Now we're taking full rocks like this, okay? And they become, over time, they get buried in the earth. And as they get buried deeper and deeper and deeper under the surface of the earth, it gets hot. Pressure and friction creates heat as well as getting closer to the core of the earth. So lots of heat and pressure. And then you let that bake for a long time. And then when you pull it out, that granite has turned into something new, which is nice. It's a pretty nice rock. Okay, but it's spelled Gneiss, I think, but don't trust my spelling, please. Okay, but this is gneiss. Gneiss used to be granite. Gneiss is a metamorphic rock. It used to be an igneous rock that you took and you squished it until it heat and pressure and it formed these layers. And that's a metamorphic rock. Okay. Now you can take any kind of rock, like sedimentary rocks. You take these rocks and you put heat and pressure and they become a new kind of rock, right? So limestone, do you know what limestone becomes when you add heat and pressure over a very long period of time? It becomes marble. So these rocks all have a metamorphic type of rock, because all metamorphic rock is taking another rock and adding heat and pressure, and it forms a new rock. So that's the three types of rocks. Sedimentary, which is made by sediments and compaction. Igneous, which is made when you take a rock and you melt it, or you take the minerals and you melt them and then cool them. That is an igneous rock. Or you take one of those rocks, those already existing rocks, and you bury them in the earth under tremendous heat and pressure, and they become metamorphic. So one more time, sedimentary is compaction. Igneous, melt and cool. Metamorphic, heat and pressure. That's the science behind rocks. Rocks are so stinking amazing, and they are so useful in everyday life. We had a great time today, even when the moose was telling us to do things wrong. So, check out the lessons and the activities of this unit, and have a fabulous time. See you later.